Hey guys, Hailey Lain aka Key Black here, and welcome to another episode of Off the Cuff. This one is going to be a multi-part topic because today I would like to talk to you guys about Yu-Gi-Oh! And there is a reason for it. In a little over a week, I will be attending Anime Matsuri in Houston to help set up and do videography for 2 panels being hosted by Jess and Monpian. One of them is titled Cinema Aficiona, Anime That Lasts. If you guys have not been to a Cinema Aficiona yourselves, highly recommend it. It's like the best kind of film study you'll ever see. And the other panel is titled Yu-Gi-Oh! Kazuki Takahashi's historically accurate fan fiction. And I very much like Yu-Gi-Oh! So what I want to do in these next couple of off the cuffs is walk through my experience with Yu-Gi-Oh! Up through how my perspective on the series changed completely after talking to Jess and Monpian about it. To lay the groundwork there, Jess, as you guys know, is a fantastic storyteller and Monpian is a literary expert. However, Jess is also an expert in Japanese culture, and Monpian is an expert in Egyptian history. So this is going to be a very interesting panel, and I'm excited for it like you could not believe. I hope to see you guys there at Anime Matsuri from August 10th through the 13th, because this is a topic that I've been wanting them to talk about publicly for a very long time. So, with that all set up, I'm gonna dive right in from my end. So, like most American kids who liked Yu-Gi-Oh!, I watched the 4Kids dub as I was growing up. What I remember is that it was on some channel right after Pokemon aired, and I was at the age, I was super young. I was in a phase where I wouldn't watch a cartoon unless there were animals in it. And so Pokemon's a no-brainer. There's animals, that's all I really cared about. But then this weird show with the kid with the spiky hair showed up, and they occasionally would have these monsters that were really cool or cute. And so I remember watching the show, waiting for Karibo or Blue Eyes White Dragon to show up, and inadvertently started getting sucked into the plot. And that is how I started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! I have a somewhat addictive personality when it comes to stories, so I very quickly became enthralled with it. You know, I'd go out of my way to try and find it on different channels whenever it was airing on, whether it was the Fox Box or later the 4Kids TV. I did still watch it because it still aired Yu-Gi-Oh! Kids WB, Cartoon Network. I went to go see the movie when it aired in theaters in the States, the one with Anubis. I think I actually saw it multiple times because I remember getting multiple Wadapon cards from it. And there was a time that I had the entire movie memorized, and I will refrain from doing it here because I think I still have most of it. My sister and I got the box set of Duelist Kingdom. We even got the box set of that spin-off series that was made illegally, Capsule Monsters. And I had a couple of starter decks. I was never really into the card game myself. I didn't really care about it. The only reason I wanted it is because A, the monsters were cool, and B, I wanted to have the things that the characters in the show had, but I don't think I ever actually dueled anybody. But in my own right, I was a total degenerate about Yu-Gi-Oh! I was that kid in middle school who would put pictures up of Yami Yugi on her locker, they'd get torn to shreds, and then I'd just have another one that I'd put up the next day. I wore a costume of Yami Yugi to school for Halloween once. Oh, I'm cringing at the memory. I had made a paper wig that I had strapped to my head with a headband. I got up to the microphone to introduce my costume and I said, "Hi, I'm Hailey and I'm dressed as Yami Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh!" I was so bad. I got to the point where I was in my kind of like, it's not a phase mom sort of stage of life, and the way that manifested for me was, anime isn't for kids. It has some dark storylines to it. That's not for kids. And I remember making the argument to one of my English teachers in middle school that manga was literature. You know, comic books in general were literature, but manga in particular, and oh man, Yu-Gi-Oh's really good. That summer, Yu-Gi-Oh! Volumes 4 and 5 were on the summer reading list because of me. And this continued for a long time. I was really infatuated with Yu-Gi-Oh! For pretty much my entire life from that point onwards, although I never finished watching or reading the story. You know, by the time that I had realized Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 and the first 7 volumes of manga were a thing, I had decided that I liked that version of the story better, and I had no interest in how it was gonna end. And I kind of know what happens in the ending. You know, you can't be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan and not see the memes and like all the AMVs that people make about the ending duel. But I was talking with Jess and Monpian about it when they were telling me all the stuff about the story that completely changed my perspectives, and I had been acting like, oh yeah, I know how Yu-Gi-Oh! Ends, of course I know the ending. But I'd never read it. So there's my pretentiousness on full display. Like, I still haven't done it. It's on the to-do list, but I still haven't done it. That probably makes me a bad fan. And I'm thinking now I really should read it before this panel happens. But what I liked about Yu-Gi-Oh! Before I met Jess and Monpian wasn't exactly like it wasn't the masterful storytelling, although it was fantastic. It was just the situation in the early manga. As you guys know, I am a sucker for the main character who can toy with the bad guys, especially if there's like a darker side to their personality. We can pinpoint Yu-Gi-Oh! As the prime culprit for that. So you can imagine, as soon as I found out Season 0 was a thing, it's like, oh, we're not going back, boys. That being said, the story of me finding the first 7 volumes of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga, as well as Season 0, is kind of its own story that I kind of want to save for the next Off the Cuff, especially because the first 7 volumes of manga actually laid the groundwork for what I learned from Jess and Monpian much later on. So I am gonna cap this video off here, guys. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I really appreciate you joining me for this, and I hope to see you in the next Off the Cuff episode. Please leave your questions and comments in the comments section. If there are any other Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans out there in the comments section, please let me know what you think about Yu-Gi-Oh!, what your experience was with it, and please judge the hell out of me for never actually finishing the series. I promise I'm gonna remedy that soon. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks again.